Hey guys, it's Lori here with It Starts With Us, uh, a Voice in the Dark production, 41824, Monsters by Lori Elliot. I heard a song today that made me cry, and how as our parents get older with dementia or they're dying, and it's at the very end, and how they need us like we needed them when we were born. We were the children, and they were the one who could stop the monsters, took care of the monsters so we didn't have to be afraid. And how our older generation needs that from us now. And even my father was having problems, and I kept trying to reassure him, and my sister too. But it's very difficult. And then it got me to thinking the monsters, the ones we were afraid of when we were little. And most monsters live in the same house as we do. Most monsters are also supposed to be the one that's supposed to be getting rid of the monsters for you. And it can get confusing, very confusing for a child. And the monsters are usually uh, inebriated. And they have their own fears, their own insecurities, and unfortunately, when they drink, they take it out on the children, and sometimes the wife, if it's a man, and the spouse, because there are women that do the same thing. And I guess my big thing is that, are you one of the monsters in the house instead of the one that's supposed to protect against monsters? And if you are, I want you to think about that. Think very hard. And it makes children grow up and wonder what's wrong with them, and why does their God not love them? Because that's how children see you, as their God when they're little. And I spent a childhood that was not pretty. Now, I had good times too, don't get me wrong, but I lived with a monster. And I believe that, well, it made me raise my children different. And I just want people to stop and think, am I one of the monsters? And if you are, now you know. And maybe now you're willing to let the other person out, because it's easier to deal with somebody who's authentic. You can't be authentic or in the same space with another person when you drink or when you're on drugs. And when you have children, I'm sorry, but to me, you have no right to continue feeding your fears and insecurities with booze and drugs. You have a importance in life to make that child feel welcome to the world, loved, and secure. It causes damage that is very difficult to heal from. And just go home and ask yourself, am I one of the monsters? And if you are, stop being one. Look in the mirror and say, I want to love myself so I can love others. Because until you love yourself, you can't love others. I've always said I've always loved myself enough to love others, regardless of what I came across or how I was treated or anything. And I never held it against my parents. I felt sorry for them and understood that there was something going on that I am not going to be able to understand. But it also caused CPTSD in me that I wasn't even aware of until I was in my 60s. And it's just something that each person needs to realize, that the children are hiding and worried about the monsters because the monster's tucking them into bed. So, think about it. Are you a monster, or are you one of the ones that protects the monster because you're afraid to be on your own, or you're afraid to cause trouble, or whatever the fear is? We all have them. It's natural. But sometimes you have to be braver than your own fears. And you need to seek out that which is bigger than you that can help you. And I'm talking about God. And I know a lot of people are, up and down about the God thing. Well, let me tell you something. God's real. And you're an integral part of God. And if you're a monster, you need to explain that to God. Then you need to ask for help. Because monsters shouldn't be tucking their kids into bed. They shouldn't be the nice person one day and the monster the next. Gets a little confusing, if you know what I mean. So anyway, that is my question for the week. Are you the monster? Or are you the monster's enabler? And if you're the child or the young one that grew up with a monster, there's help, and get it, because you're meant to be healthy and alive and enjoying life. Don't let it drag you down and keep replaying the same scenarios with your current lifestyle because you haven't healed over your family one. So this is all I got tonight. Love you. I know it's a deep subject, but it had to be said. Talk to you later. Bye. Lori.